such a pleasure to have all of you here join us for this inaugural or the first of the 4 series. And we just want to be very clear that this is an experience that is going to uplift this community, which means all its members. So I'm totally committed to you having the answers to the issues that you're facing now, whether it's anxiety, isolation. So I would like you, because it's going to be interactive and we're only going to use the chat box right now, write down what are the issues, why are you here for this webinar, what is it that you want out of the session. So what are you facing? So use your chat box and just write it down. What is it that you're having issues with? Because we know the coronavirus is here. It's unpredictable, right? So those of us who have problems with uncertainty and change and the issues that are going around us, which may seem so real, but most of you have been meditators. That's what I understand. And for those of you who are not, thank you here, for those of you who are writing in this the chat box. So write down in your chat box, what is it that you're worried about? And some of you came here to meditate with a group. I want to rewire my brain to keep being positive and working through this difficult time. Thank you, Deborah. Can you increase the volume? Okay, can you increase the volume on your side? And it's still low. This is the max that we have. Maybe when we listen to the audio or the instant replay, maybe we can do something about that. Oh, for those of you who cannot hear it, please put on a headset. All right, Melissa, is that you? So those of you who cannot hear me clearly, put on a headset. That works the best. All right, a headset or an audio phone, that will really work for you. And as Rivka just said, if your internet is unstable or you don't want us to see what you're doing, please stop the video, okay? Not everybody needs to be seen on the video because it will come out in the instant replay. So if you don't want that, please stop video. Just click on the left-hand side, the bottom bar, and just click the stop video. So if you're going to be doing something at home, I had one time somebody taking a shower. We don't need to see anybody taking a shower, right? So just stop the video. So I'm seeing here people writing in isolation, lack of leadership and empathy in our country, uncertainty and fear for the health of loved ones. The world needs connectivity more than ever. Chaser here writes, boredom and anxiety. It feels good to be moving about, but I feel very unmotivated to take full advantage of this time. And I want to take this opportunity to continue my spiritual path. Nana says, uncertainty about when will this situation get better and about my financial situation. And Amy says here, how to pay close attention even though it is anxiety producing. Good. Lack of control and uncertainty about how long the pandemic will last. Thank you. So anybody who has anything to say here that has not already been said, please write down in the chat box. And I'm going to be inviting people to come in because people are joining in. And so those of you who are just coming in, welcome. We are writing out things that are happening around you that you want a resolve for in these meditation information, knowledge sessions. What we're going to do here, first of all, is address the isolation and anxiety that most people are going through, right? Whether we are facing the sudden economic hardship, fear for our health or the health of loved ones, or grief over a devastating loss, or the unnerving prospect of being homebound for months on end. All of us are feeling challenged to rapidly adapt to a life in a world that we couldn't have imagined even a few months ago, even a few weeks ago. So if you have a regular meditation practice, you're probably going to find that it's going to be useful and a tremendous source of help and a source of stability and clarity amidst the rapid changes that we are facing. So for those of you who are here, we're going to be, sending you the instant replay. So you don't have to take notes, you'll be getting it. And I just want you to be present with yourself. And as you're getting insights that, sudden realization as we're going to do the session, I just want you to write that down. Anything else, you'll be getting it, right? Now, the way to listen to these sessions is just to, like you would listen to classical music or something you love, right? So just relax, right? And have a glass of water. If you don't have it, just go get a glass of water, because you're going to stabilize and ground yourself. So if you're sitting down somewhere, put your feet on the ground, or if you're sitting, your legs are folded, it's fine. Just be grounded. Okay, and some of you may create a sacred space around you. You can have a statue, or some beads, whatever you're used to having, creating a sacred space, invite you to do that, right? And as we go through, it'll be very simple, but it will be a deeper and deeper connection with yourself, because the depths that you can go to with yourself, and no need to rush at anything, no need to, oh my God, I didn't get where I'm supposed to get. There's nowhere to go, nothing to do. Right? That's the easiest way you can fall inside yourself. And this is like, falling in love with yourself and the deeper part of you. Why do we want that? Because as we're going to discuss here, there's a deeper presence that's calling right now to be in everyone's life, right? As long as you're alive, you can come in with the deeper part of yourself. And that is that part that we call life, the presence, the life force energy, God, divine, whatever you may call it, that part of us is to be addressed. Now, we're going to be doing several practices that you can incorporate into your life, and that can help you stay centered and grounded to this deepest part of you, no matter what life brings. Because when we are centered in, and there's a depth that comes in, you'll be amazed at what opens up in front of you that you never saw, right? And we'll invoke a space for everyone to come together and experience the life support of being part of a global community. And I want to acknowledge and thank Dan and Rivka for providing us the safe space and a charitable foundation, the Florence Belsky Foundation, to help people, seniors and youngsters and the general X, to come together to give that love and the coherence and development of a community. Now, you cannot predict what that will mean, but it'll be coming together and connecting. So if any one of you are feeling isolated at this point, reach out to Dan and to Rivka and say you want to be part of parcel of something that is like, they're developing for senior citizens, or, for being part of this meditation event. All right. So if any time, Aaron is saying here, my mother is sick in a nursing home and I can't be there. So this is the time where, you're going to find that most of us, if we are centered within ourselves, we can provide so much support, and like the opportunities to present itself and to understand at a deeper level what life actually means. So nobody can put a finger on what is life about. That it's not that, it's unlimited essence of what life is. So we're going to touch a little bit on that today, right? Anyone has any questions whatsoever, please feel free to use the chat box. And I want to start off by saying, how do we cope with isolation, right? So we're going to be ourselves here. So just when I'm asking these questions, just looking into your life. How do I cope with isolation? It seems hard because when we are like social creatures going out for meetings, food, shopping, concerts, sports, family gatherings, no matter where you are in this world. So when a young child gets told that they will be in time out for 10 minutes, it seems like an eternity for them because they have no concept of time and space. Therefore, it is important to care for your inner child right now. They are the ones who are frightened and question about how long will this go on, as some of you have illustrated in there, wrote about in the chat box. So again, write in the chat box, what is it that you are dealing with at this point of time. So know that the sudden onset of this pandemic is stretching you to a depth in ways that you could have never imagined before. And you're not alone, right? So your adult self is much more capable of handling difficulties and disaster. Look at what you've gone through with your own children, for those of you who have children and family. You've handled moments in the past, and even right now you're handling situations, right? So whether we are facing financial challenges, fear for our health, concern for the safety of others, and you're wondering how you will be homebound for weeks. Many of us are seeking a source of stability amidst the rapid changes we are facing. So again, I want to repeat that to you. The earth and all life are transforming. Our fear connects us with a collective karma and spins the wheel once again. So step out of your fear through the meditation practices you may already have, or you're coming here to meditate as a group, and you'll go deeper and deeper into your essence. Find your inner peace inside, the center of your soul body, and stay there. This will help you to observe what is going on and keep you from dialing up into the collective fear consciousness. We are moving from the old paradigm to a new reality. There are many things being acted out through the old paradigm. So it is important to remember our thoughts, and energetic participation could tip the scales. So in other words, be mindful of your thoughts. If anything I can say, the first thing is to be mindful of your thoughts. It's let yourself, becoming consumed with things that make you happy, like a project at home, dancing, singing, playing with your children and pets. Start a project, and while you're at it, get into the garden. Keep your thoughts clear of the fear cycle we are in. We're going to go deeper into why are we doing that. Stay at the center. Wonderful. Create art, dance, sing, and write. This is the time to do projects that you never thought you had time for. And it's a very, very important. Observe what is going on, but do not become a part of it, or let the energy of this man-made or whatever virus become your vibrational identity. So don't focus on that. So I'm going to give you a few tips on how you can face the right direction. For those of you who are well-versed in the Buddhist literature, it's about the right thoughts, the right action, the right direction. So when we do that, magic can just come in, and we want a collective consciousness of it can be painful, it's going to be sad, but at the same time, wow, you're in the wow of what life has to offer. And you're finding, I'm seeing more things now, I can be clearer. And that's what happens when you're in the flow with your presence. So being in the flow means you're engaged with the task on hand at the present moment. Whatever you're doing, whether you're listening to this audio, you want to be really clear that, I can be present to what I want to do. Is that clear for everyone? So just say yes if my pace of,
yes.
questions. Good. Thank you, Rivka. So just write in yes, that's good. So in other words, be consumed with only your thoughts for vibrational, good things in life. So someone here says, sprinkle in and look for the positive aspects of life. Yes, yes. So I invite you in this journey of the next 4 sessions to go on a journey of self-discovery, designed to help you step into a profound source of inner strength, resilience, wisdom, compassion, and understanding. And for you to enable to navigate the upheaval and uncertainty of this time with grace, ease, and trust, right? Not being giving away your power, but knowing your power is within and being clear where that wisdom is coming from. So we're going to share with you a number of practices over the next 4 weeks that you can incorporate into your life to stay centered and grounded. So the first step is to be that you're already a part of this global community, right? So you don't have to do anything more, but you're committed in this community that Dan and Rivka are coming from. You want to be committed to accessing more wisdom, love, and consciousness to help our human family get through this uniquely challenging time. And how do we each do it? Each one of you, very, very important in this process. We are doing it because we love everyone. We are knowing that, this is a time of uncertainty and change. And I can't think of 2 subjects that can cause more human distress in my practice than these 2. I speak of a certain amount of working with corporations, I work with individuals, and the 2 top things that nobody likes to have difficult areas of difficulty and stress is dealing with uncertainty and stress. And they can be the top 5 of, people saying, what do they don't like to deal with, right? Now, the most difficult areas, it can be for some people, they just take it, they can handle it. But for so many people, it's just devastating. They just do terribly. half their life is spent worrying about uncertainty and change. And there are people that you notice they seem to have, there are other people who have very little trouble with it. So I'm going to suggest, and they go through life very gracefully. And I'm just going to say to you that, the people that do really well with uncertainty and change all handle it in the same way. So you want to know what's the way to handle this uncertainty and change, right? They're dealing with right now. And the only way to handle it, and when you have trouble, understanding this, you can always listen to the replay. And you'll say, well, it's very obvious when she says it this way. And yet to most people, what I'm saying will not occur to them. So you just want to be like, oh, wow. And you don't want to be hurtful to your family or friends or, people, the loved ones who are not present on these calls, right? So this is something for you to understand, my God, how can you handle uncertainty and change? And those who do it gracefully, they do it in a particular way. And here's the reason why uncertainty and change is problematic. When you have uncertainty and change, you have a great temptation to let your imagination free, to spell out all the scary scenarios for you. So when people don't know this, right, it's that they have a tendency to when they don't know something, they have a tendency to make up something using their imagination. What happens is uncertainty and change can open the door if you do it. If you open your door to imagination, and imagination will bring its friend in, and that's memory and your imagination. And your memory will have a party in your head, and it won't be a pleasant sight when they get through. Right? Because what happens is that imagination comes in and says, hey, memory, we don't know what's going to happen here. Come on with all the things that could happen, that have happened in the past, and they're just frightening and painful. That is a human tendency to look at things that were horrible and painful and fear-ridden, right? And memory is so like, memory will say, okay, well, let me see what you've got. Well, the uncertainty is that, the pandemic is happening right now. We don't know when it's going to happen, or your company may be downsizing. So then he says, well, let me see. Remember the last time you were out of work, and you were out of work for 4 months or 5 months, and how terrible it was? Now, it can just go on and on. It could be something that you saw in a movie or a friend told you about. Those collective, consciousness of memory, it's all going to play amok with you, with your imagination and memory. So what do you think that will happen? Now, the next nice thing is that memory is not restricted by what actually happened to you, because the next thing it'll say is, yeah, and remember, I noticed I was storing a memory here about a TV show, or it happened somewhere here, and then you are bombarded with fear and anxiety. If any of you can relate to that, please write there, yes. If you have a vivid imagination, just write it there. So we're going to know how can you use your imagination to help you, right? Well, the thing about this is that but the thing is, it hasn't happened yet. And that's why uncertainty and change is so difficult, not because of what happens when change happens, but because what happens when uncertainty appears, but because of the power of the human imagination combined with memory to come up with scary thoughts and scenarios. So if you don't let your memory loose, if you refuse to let your imagination loose in the face of uncertainty and change, you eliminate the problems I'm talking about. You eliminate the downside of uncertainty and change, because without imagination, without the combination of imagination and memory, there's nothing scary about uncertainty and change. In fact, uncertainty and change are just illusionary concepts. It's an illusion. Now, why am I saying that? All uncertainty means is that you don't know the future. Well, you don't know the future anyway. So I'm just going to ask you all to take a few seconds here. What's your next thought going to be? In 5 minutes from now, what are you going to think next? And you're going to see, I don't know. I don't know what my next thought is going to be now or 5 minutes from now. What's your feeling going to be? Right? So if you don't know where the next minute or the next 5 minutes, whatever thought is going to be, how can you predict a future that hasn't happened yet? Do you see how those feelings are running around because of some fierce imaginations that you have? And now the pain is that you're feeling, the fear that you're feeling, the anxiety that you're feeling, it's not coming from the future, not knowing the future. It's coming from the past. It's coming from your memory that's being manipulated at your request by imagination. Now, people who handle imagination well, not imagination alone, people who handle uncertainty and change well, don't think about it. That's how they handle it. Well, they don't think about it. As soon as something is uncertain, they stop thinking about it. Why? Because they don't want the imagination active in the process. And if you don't, if it's uncertain, all you can do is use your imagination. There's nothing happening to think about. All there is imagination at work. The same thing is true with change. Before the change happens, what you're doing is using your imagination. Right? I want you to write down if this is something you are facing right now. It hasn't happened yet. Now, before the change happens, you're using imagination. Now, it might be helpful to have some thoughts about what they're going to do when this change takes place at work or your life, but that would be pleasant. That would be nice. It would be proactive. It would be reassuring. But if they use the imagination to think about what might happen if a bad thing happens, then they're using the imagination. It's like putting your hand in a vice and just squeezing it. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to do that? What can empower a human being when they do that? So you're just causing yourself pain unnecessarily. So the wise way to handle uncertainty and change is to turn your back on it. Now, let me give you an example. So I had a client here who told me that she was going to have a biopsy of a cyst in her throat. So they didn't know whether it was a cancer, and they were going to do a biopsy. Now, in her mind, she and her husband were worrying before she came to see me. And I asked her, look, you've got to turn your back on it. You don't know the biopsy is not in. You don't know what's going to happen. So she had the biopsy and they were waiting for the results. And you can't think about it because there's not enough information on it. Well, she said, yeah, but there's an 80% chance that there's going to be a cancer. And I said, well, it's 80%, but it's uncertain. Doesn't mean anything because it's already either is something or isn't something, right? It's either cancer, and you can use your own examples here. Either it's cancer or it's not cancer. I don't care if it's 99%. It's still uncertain. And there's no reason to face a situation until this information is available. In doing so, we turn to face situations where the information is unavailable and you have to use your imagination. So why not just go to sleep, right? Why not just do something that you like to do? And when the information comes, whether it's cancer in this case or not, you can decide, oh, what do I have to do the next step? And then the next step opens up for you. The doctor will tell you what to do. And then, you can, wow, I didn't go worrying down that rabbit hole, and I could handle it. And you'll be able to face situations. So there is no other way to it. You have to make it up in your head that you don't want to make up something that's going to come back and bite you. So she said to me, well, Dr. Vijay, maybe I should get the idea that it should be fine. And it's not cancer and everything's going to be fine. And you know what? It turned out to be fine. It turned out to be fine. It was a benign cyst. Well, the problem is your mind. So sometimes if you say to the mind, say, oh, it's going to be fine, it's going to be okay, the mind knows you made that up. It also knows that you don't know that to be the case. And you know that the only reason you made it up is to feel better. So your mind is not stupid, right? So it can do that to you too. So it's not going to trust it. It's not going to say, well, that's really the truth, right? Oh, good. Now I know the truth. The best thing to say is, it's something is uncertain. I'm going to wait till it's certain, and then we'll face it. Same thing is true with a change. You don't know what the change means. If you don't have the information about what the change is going to be, you don't want to be thinking about it, because you don't want to bring back your imagination and think the most horrible scenarios, which many of us have been doing it all our lives, right? The best thing to do is, I think what I'll do is I'll wait. And then when it happens, I'll face it, right? Now that's an extraordinary gap between people's emotional ability to handle possibilities, right? Versus the ability to handle the eventualities. There's a huge gap between the two. And I've worked enough with clients who have been in bankruptcy, who have gone through terminal illnesses, clients who have anticipated having terminal illnesses, who suspected they might have terminal illnesses. And it's a huge difference between the amount of fear, unrest, emotional distress they experience ahead of time and the emotional distress that they experience when the eventuality actually occurs. So look back into your own lives. And when you have that, it's like, wow. In the case of, bankruptcy, or you don't have a job, or the financial situations, that's like, you were let off a job, or you had to, like, really, you had to have a bankruptcy in your life. So clients have told me, wow, finally the bankruptcy is here. Wow, I feel clear. Now it's like, wow, I've been living a lavish life or whatever life, and now I can take the next steps. Similarly, use it with this pandemic fears and reasons that you have. We are just making it up. Now, it doesn't mean that, you don't look at what the news says, that, yeah, there's going to be a number of people who are going to die, but you also know that there's going to be a way number of people who are going to live, and you're going to find, how do I go ahead with this? So they're kind of factors. So these are all the different kind of factors that make an event in the moment easy to deal with, compared with the anticipation of the events, right? And just to have that, best to live, like MPE says here, best to live in the moment as often as you can. So this is what, we are saying. They get ideas how they want, in anticipation, they don't have, like, they anticipate, I don't have the resources, I don't know what to do. And people tend to stew and ruminate when eventuality happens. Even if it's an unpleasant one, the attention is on the idea they have, but how they're going to deal with it. And those feel productive, and those feel proactive, and those feel like, gee, I'm getting somewhere. Do you see? So you can always be in the moment and sort of make a choice. Am I going to be present, or am I just going to be, ruminating and getting upset in my head? So it's a good experience to have. It really works for everyone to be, like, present in the moment. And still, when you get a shock of a news, or you saw something, just breathe and take a couple of deep breaths. So right now we're going to be doing that. How do you do that? Okay, so everyone, just put your one hand on your heart right now, and the other hand on your abdomen, on your solar plexus. That's, just around your stomach area. So just close your eyes and just breathe. Breathing in your hand, so it just lifts up, and breathing out closer to the spine. So it's counter breathing, right? We just breathe in with our chest now, but breathing through your abdomen. So breathing in, abdomen rises, and breathing out, abdomen goes in. So this is a deeper breath. And when you do diaphragmatic breathing, like you're just doing, breathing in, diamond rises up, and as you breathe out, you go closer to the spine. When that happens, you're doing a deeper breathing, your lungs are expanding even more, and more oxygen is coming in. So being in the moment, one hand on your heart, the other hand on your solar plexus, and just breathe. Now I'm going to add something a little bit more deeper to that. Think of one person that you love in your life. The person may have been deceased, but think of one person you love. And just for the next 2 minutes, just give gratitude to that person for being in your life. Just thank that person. So close your eyes and just thank the person for being in your life. Very simple exercise, but very, very powerful. It could be a pet. It could be a vacation you've had. It doesn't matter. Just give thanks to something that is precious to you. And throughout the day, just practice this gratitude from the heart. just turning the direction of gratitude, right? And as you go deeper into it, there's a smile that will come from your heart. And you're just like, wow, I can spend 2 minutes or 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I can be here the whole day giving thanks to so many wonderful things happening in my life. It's a choice we make. And when you do that, what happens? Gratitude, facing the direction of gratitude, cleans up all your fear and anxiety. Sometimes I tell my clients who say, well, if you don't find anything to be grateful about, look up in the ceiling. You have a roof over your head. You have a feet on the ground. You have a home. For now, you have a home. Right now, in this present moment. And think of all the people in your life that you're grateful for. Even the noisy ones, even the ones that are, they talk back to you, like, if you're teenagers, it's fine. They're still there. I just love them. And I'm being present with them. So just giving thanks. So throughout this exercise, just put your hands on your heart and just breathe. Right? And you can have a soft focus. You can put your eyes on the ground and just softly, just soft focus. And just breathing in, thanking God for your breath. Now, there are some people, who come and see me when they are, in dire situations and they're in hospitals. I have clients, frequently they're admitted for terminal illnesses. They found this exercise to be so wonderful. I actually have a client who's a grandmother to a 10-year-old child with an inoperable brain tumor. And the child, the girl, it was so beautiful. And she said, I love this gratitude. And I made them, go get beads for the child, and the mother and the grandmother, they were all they were all giving gratitude. And you can have a smaller beads than this, and you can just say one bead, for one person that I'm grateful for one thing I'm grateful for another thing I'm grateful for. But the child at first, when she started, just, I'm disappointed because I didn't finish my beads. But if you run out of things to say, then you can say about your vacation, your people that were there in your life for you. Everything is possible when you give gratitude. And the child feels so much better, helps her to go through her chemo, and and bring the family closer together in love and gratitude. So we need to do that a little bit more in here. And if those of you who have beads, you can use your beads. Maybe the next time we'll go a little bit deeper, but just give thanks to everyone. Now, why do we touch the beads? Or if you don't have beads, you can use your fingers, right? When the mind is focused on an object like a bead here, right? Instead of being hijacked to go and think about something you don't want to think about, you will bring it here and you will focus on your gratitude. And as you do the first 5 or 10, you will go what we call the field of gratitude, the field of appreciation. And as you go into the field, you just stay there. Just put your hand on the heart and just stay in the field for as long as you can. And it's not about, the people, that you're grateful for. You could start off with that. It's like having a key to come into your door, the door of your heart. And as you open the door, you're at home. You're in the home. And so as you start giving gratitude, I do this at least 5-6 times a day. So I find that when I do that, I have ideas. I see opportunities in so much of lack and scarcity consciousness people have. I start having ideas, and so do my clients who do this work. So it's a very simple direction to face instead of fear, uncertainty, worried about a loved one. Aaron, it's beautiful what you said about your mother, but you can turn the direction and give love and gratitude to your mom, to your family members whom you may not be able to see for God knows how long. And you're just giving them the thanks, and you'll find ways of reaching out to them to let them know you have them in your prayers and you're giving gratitude. I have many people who are doing that right now, and it's so much helpful to them, right? So now if you found that practice useful, please write out in your chat box. Caitlin says, I'm able to live in the moment, very positive, not worrying early. But then if something happens, I find myself shocked and sink into deep sadness, feeling unprepared and unable to act. So practice of gratitude keeps you solidified, okay? Very, very clear. Now, what is the important thing? It's a solidity. When you come into that field of your consciousness, of your soul, of your heart, there is a solid. We come into a depth. And when in confusion, people would think about what is this spiritual awakening? Oh, maybe it means you feel great all the time. You feel really great all the time, and you're happy all the time because you know this divine source of things is what makes you happy all the time, your life force energy, right? And that's a kind of truth to it, in the sense that when we do discover our essential nature, that's the real you, the true self. When we discover the beauty and profundity and depth that is the root of all this, that is the essence of our own consciousness. There's a fundamental happiness already there. And it's a sense of positivity no matter what happens. Now, it is not an unreal, it doesn't it goes into a strength, from strength to strength. And there's a kind of truth to that, in the sense that when we do discover our essential nature, what we discover is that's a root to it. That's the essence of our own consciousness. If anybody is unmuted, hold on. I think there is a Nick. Okay, if you are unmuted for some reason, I'm going to mute all again. Please go down to the menu bar on the bottom of your screen and just click on the mute, and you'll be muted. Okay, good. Now, what is it that, it's like when any awakened human being, like when we awaken here, so you can leave your hand on your heart. It's a very emotional human being who cares about things that happen in this world, and is invested in things that they want to happen in the world, and experience all the emotional ups and downs like everyone else. But the equanimity that we see, that we encounter in awakening, in a spiritual awakening, it's unlike anything else we encounter, because the awakening is rooted and grounded in that is not subject to the changes of coming up and down, to imagination, to anything. It's much deeper than that. It's like, there might be a metaphor that's like a tree with a new, big, strong tree, right? With roots going deep into the Mother Earth. No matter how strong the storm winds come, they hit it, they don't blow it over because the roots are so deep. Or another metaphor is like a giant boulder sitting in a riverbed. No matter how deep and furious the flood waters get, the boulder is just sitting there unmoved because it has so much of mass. It has so much weight. So both of these are good metaphors, because human beings will think in terms of metaphors for what spiritual depth can give us equanimity, right? And this ability to be unmoved is a good way, obviously. So we want to be able to be moved in a good way, maybe in a different way, but in terms of what this equanimity is, where we don't want to get knocked off center. Our roots don't get pulled up. We don't get blown around by the storm. As you're seeing sometimes in the media and with people around you, you want to stay grounded, and you want to stay steady and in the powerful presence. So gratitude, using your breath and being mindful of your breath. I do this when I walk around from point A to point B. And when I get like pulled off, like what someone did say, you can just, feel the breath. And you find that the source of your breath, you didn't cause the breath. The source of your breath is something that is so infinitely beautiful. You didn't control your breath. And as you start breathing, you realize, who is breathing me? I'm not in control of this breath. Neither are you in control of your heartbeat. Now, for example, if you don't believe that, you said, well, if you pumped your hand like that, its heartbeats are like at least 72 times a minute. And it has been going like this, beating from the time of conception in your mother's womb. So if you all just try this, and you say, no, I tried it. I said, I couldn't do it more than 5-10 minutes. And I said, oh my God, I'm so tired. Now, your heart doesn't say, I'm going to get a vacation. No, it doesn't, because we get a vacation for 5 minutes. We're all dead. So what is running this heartbeat, right? Until the day we die, the heartbeat goes on. That force, that presence, that power is what we're alluding to. It says, and you're inviting that power to make itself known. And it cannot come when it's like clouds, blocking the sun. We don't say, well, there's no sunshine. It says, yeah, but the clouds are blocking it. The sun is there. So what happens then? Wait for the clouds to go away. Or you can blow at or you can practice the breath, and you realize, oh, where did my fears go away? Practice the gratitude. Oh, I don't know what I was thinking about a few minutes ago, but it's gone. And then in its place, a fresh new thought, a fresh new creative insight, it comes out. So just think about what's going on and all the reaction people have been in this world. But if only 10% of us have this equanimity and this kind of depth, this weight, we could be a source of so much of steadiness, reliability, strength for everyone around us. No matter, I have patients here, clients here who come diagnosed with cancers and difficult situations, but they provide the support for their family. And so you'll think, well, the person is in a difficult state, but no, the life force energy is there. And they provide the strength and support, not just to themselves. And their faces, they are light, because as you start doing the gratitude work and the breath work and the meditations, you're going to find yourself living with joy. It's not an unrealistic joy, but the joy that comes from within. Right now, that's a very, very, you can be a source of so much of steadiness, reliability, and strength for people around you. So again, it's not something that you have to wait for, like a lightning bolt of spiritual awakening or sometime in the future. It's not to give us equanimity. All of us can practice this right now, which opens the door to the face and the depth in meditation to a life of consciousness. It's something we can practice in life. So I wanted to invite you at this time, again, to a meditation, what we call the posture. So you can close your eyes, or you can just look down with a soft gaze, again, at something. So I just want to invite you to just be still. Physically, just sit still. And inwardly be still. Just allow yourself to relax into a place in yourself that is unmoving, unchanging. And as you do your breath and you just focus on your breath, you'll get the strange experience. Who is breathing? Who is breathing me? And I remind you, as we go through our life right now, our minds may be swinging all over the place. Our emotions may be going all over the place. But what is the place that isn't moving? You don't have to wait for your mind to settle. You don't have to wait for emotion to settle. But when your focus and your intention is that I'm going to go into myself, the place that is still and that is unmoving. So our emotions might be going all over, but what is the place that isn't moving? And come to rest in that place within yourself that is deeply still always. That's an energy field. That's the force of you. There is a part in all of us that is untouched by the winds of time and change. It's always at peace, at ease. And you just want to breathe into it. So when you breathe into it, make time for everything. Make room for everything, but react to nothing. Some of you may be able to access that there is a place in your heart. Deep stillness and quiet is there. But if you can't, you don't know where to look for that, that's okay too. Just take up a posture in yourself that you can include everything, every feeling, every thought, every uncertainty. You're not moving towards anything. And you're just looking at life from that bolder perspective, right? The mass is there, unmoving. And you can see things happening in your life. You're not going away from anything. You're not getting involved in anything. Just deeply, still deeply breathing in and breathing out. Allow yourself to let go in meditation. But again, just let it continue naturally in the background, joining the seed of not knowing. Right? So we're not doing anything. We're just breathing into that part of us, addressing the part of us that is unchanging. Now you've got a seed planted in deep equanimity. Just let it germinate in your consciousness and continue to unfold whatever they do naturally. So just breathing. Some of you may want to have the hand on the heart. It's very comforting. It's always possible in life, even as we move through the world and engage with things and are trying to actively change things and do things and make things happen. It's possible to do it from a place where you're deeply anchored in this infinite center, this profound depth. And it's something we can practice. There's an awakened life practice for this. There's actually a lot of them actually. But the one I want to invite you is to take this into your life, to just practice attuning to this place in yourself that is solid, deep, wavy, still, that does not get brought around like from chaos is swirling around you. Now I want you to think another metaphor is, rocky, a stormy sea, right? The storm is hitting and the waves are crashing, on the shore and on the rocks. But do you know that deep down into that sea or that ocean, there's an ocean of stillness and calm. So the laws that work up, in your mind or emotions and things that's chaos that's swirling around you, but there is a depth that when you go in, there are different laws in that depth. And that depth of that ocean, that sea, that presence is what's running the show. It's running the show in your life. It's making your heart beat. It's making your lungs breathe, your respiration, your brain functioning. You actually are letting it go and letting this intelligence, right, just run it, which has been doing amazingly well, right? It hasn't taken a nap. It's amazingly well. It hasn't taken a vacation. It doesn't have to think. It just flows in a natural intelligence, natural wisdom and strength. So now, this is the first part of the practice. And then as you're holding that intention going through your life, hand on the heart, you then observe what blows you off center. What is it that triggers you into reactivity? Like some of you have written here earlier, into fear, anxiety. What is it? You start to notice in yourself when you're feeling frazzled or overwhelmed or off kilter, off center. And you notice how you react to something, overreact to something, or with a kind of intensity, you can just say, okay, I'm getting blown all over the place. So take a moment, and you don't have to turn. Close your eyes, go within. See, a lot of us, okay, Vijaya is saying, I need to meditate constantly throughout my day for this. No, that's not what I mean. What I really mean is just to take a moment to remind yourself to make room for everything, to not to be reactive, to step into the stillness and explore what's it like to live from that center, to live from that centeredness and see what happens. So any of you feel free to share any insights that you have got and just write in the chat box. So the third practice that I want you to do, I want to talk about, is something all of us on the spiritual path have heard about: surrender. Surrender means a lot of things to people, right? By surrender. Those of you being in some of my programs have heard me talk in great detail about what I don't mean about surrender, perhaps as much as what I do mean about surrender. But particularly in relation to this moment we're experiencing on the planet right now, one of the things that's being most deeply challenged in us is our desire to control outcomes, to control what's going to happen in the world, why the politicians are not doing a good job, and why this is happening in my life. And it's a control. Even if we know we don't have ultimate control over our fate, that accidents can happen, all kinds of unexpected things can happen, and do happen to everybody. The reality is we all assume a level of control in our lives, right? It's a fake idea. But we tend to find that the more control we have, the more successful we can have that. We can be achieving our goals and reaching certain outcomes that we want to make us happy, right? Generally, being in control is a good thing. Having control is really a good thing. When you're driving a car, you want to have control over the path it's going down the road. You want to have control over your finances and have them be subject to not unforeseen circumstances, right? It's generally good. But of course, we've probably also seen how compulsive trying to control things is a pathology that a lot of us have in different ways. And that when it comes to spiritual awakening, it actually is a major obstacle. If you want to go deep within you, it's a major compulsive control of an outcome is a major obstacle. Our need to be in control because our spiritual awakening is opening us to a way of living in which we are really giving up control. When I say we, I mean our ego structure that's trying to know what's going to happen, predict outcomes, control what's going to happen, keep the whole thing together. That ultimately has to fall apart and give way to a completely different order of knowing, responding, expressing, living that will start to flow into our lives and move through us to the degree that we can get out of the way. So allowing this deeper intelligence to work through us, to talk through us, to express itself through us, to laugh through us, to cry through us. That is like allowing a different force of energy that is coming in. It is you, your energy. Nobody else did this to you, but you are now standing fast in the direction of gratitude, in the direction of being able to look at and hold the space for everything in your life without going anywhere, not reacting. Just for those of you who are finding yourself like, I can only do this for a few minutes, Dr. B, it's fine. Just do it for a few minutes at a time. You will find that you grow in strength because your soul force knows that that's where you're facing the direction. Ultimately, you wake up. To wake up, you have to get out of the way. So surrender in this context means I'm surrendering control. Right now, there's so much we don't have control over, right? You know, I don't want to do the list again. Just look around you. This feels like the world is spinning out of control and all kinds of control we thought we had in our own life and what we're going to do day to day has vanished. So something is there that's calling forth. We are now going to come into a fuller awakening of who we are. The potential is there. The invitation to life is there. Whether we're going to accept it or not, and you're going to see like, so somebody's asking, Evelyn, you're asking a good question here. So is giving up control actually a way to control our emotions? No, hang on to this a little bit more. So it's a good time to practice surrender, right? So what that means is in meditation, it means, well, actually, let's go ahead and take your meditation posture again. So some of you may want to put your hand on the heart. Some of you just want to go into your breath work. Eyes open or closed, it doesn't matter. If they're open, just look down softly, right? So I want you to, for this posture in your meditation, this practice, I want to invite you to simply don't try to control what's happening. Don't control your breath. Just watch your breathing. Let go of trying to make anything happen. Just let everything be exactly as it is right now. Let yourself be here right now. Letting things be means not trying to change anything at all about this moment. You might notice that I'm trying to change to something. All meditating starts to feel maybe peaceful right now. When you try to make any agitated feelings go away. When you release the feedback, no, you don't. You maybe just let it be. If there's an emotion that's coming up, face it. Sometimes it can be peaceful. Sometimes it can be sadness. It can be anger. Just face it. Just be with it. It's an amazing thing. We have 70,000 thoughts and feelings. All your feelings come from the divine via thought in the moment. We're going to go deeper into this. And if you notice, well, where else can my feeling come from? I just had a thought. So if you have an upset thought, you have upset feeling. If you have a loving thought, you have a loving feeling. So wherever your emotions are pointing you, they're just pointing you in the direction of where you like to habitually hang out with your thoughts. That's how the human psychological experiences, all experiences come from. Letting things be means not changing anything about this moment for you. When you release the feedback, oh, that is a good thought, this is a bad thought. No judgment. We came here on this planet to experience all the emotions, good, bad, ugly, terrible, horrible, cruel. We came here to experience everything. But when you don't get tangled and when you don't put labels on it, you can just let the thoughts and feelings, the 70,000 thoughts and feelings that go together, they would just go on their merry way. and just crash on the shore. And then, replaced by another wave of thought and emotion, something else will come up. Something else will come up, right? The deepest kind of letting go is because you're letting go of trying to change anything. And you're just watching like clouds. You don't change the cloud. You just let it watch. For those of you who have not taken the exercise up, just go out and look out of your window in the morning, or in the afternoon, and you notice that it just goes by. You don't have to hook on to it. A thought and a feeling are energy. You don't have to hook on to it. You just let it go and just breathe with it. So when you do your breathing and you go breathing in through your nose, and your tummy goes out, and breathe out. Sometimes you may see black smoke coming out. It's an unwanted, an emotion. And you just find that within a few minutes of doing that, breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your mouth, you realize you come to a peaceful state. Where did that feeling, unwanted agitation go? It just went away. If some people are very visual, they have to visualize a black smoke coming out. It just feels great. Oh my God, you're just surrendering, and you're just being and accepting the reality. So surrender means not needing things to be in any way, not insisting that something is wrong or something needs to be something other than this, but just allowing. So just allow. Allowing each moment to unfold into the next moment, allowing our experiences to change from one thing to another. Just be. And you notice it changes very fast. Feelings and thoughts just come and change 70,000 thoughts and feelings a day. Many of them are repetitive and negative. But if you just don't get labeled on it and just say it's my thought and feeling, and just breathe it out and let it go. Not trying to steer it or control it. Allowing yourself to gently let go in this meditation, and allowing the seed of surrender to take its place alongside the seed of equanimity and the seed of not knowing. Right? They're all seeds there. So now you're allowing it to germinate. Let them be. And allow them to continue germinating within you, and open yourself to your experience. So take a moment to write down. So Melissa says, so yelling at the TV isn't helpful. Well, it depends on what you want. Yelling, but it depends on how you feel inside. Yelling at a person, yelling at a loved one, yelling at, the state of the world, it's not going to be much use. Why not use that being grateful that you have a TV set, grateful that you have a roof? If you forget everything, and when I do my meditation practices, I go into, sometimes you run out of things, and my 10-year-old, the grandchild, my client, giving thanks for all the organs in your body, for your eyes that can see, ears that can hear, and you're going to go into deeper and deeper. Wow, oh, my ears weren't working well before, but now, wow, I went through that surgery or whatever it is, and every part of your body you can give thanks. So to ask yourself, when was the last time I thanked my organs? And again, I want you to bring to a very incredible, realization that your eyes may be instruments here, ears may be here, your nose and your smell, your tongue and your taste, buds and your skin for touch. But, like I use myself an example, if I'm talking to you and, a bullet just entered, here, and I'm like, all my instruments are still there, right? But I'm dead. And you're going to say, that is a dead body in there, right? That life force, it's not there. So right now, while we're still alive, in this moment, we want to give thanks to this life force, because our eyes can see, but the seeing, the vision is with the life force energy. The ears can hear, but the hearing is with the life force energy. And you can taste something, that the tasting is in the taste buds, but the real sense of, oh my God, this is great, I love this food, that sense of being in the wow is with the life force energy. So you want to give thanks as many times during the day as you can. Give gratitude for life, for your life. And when you start doing that, it starts opening up. It starts like, wow. So there are two parts where I want you to see that, this practice of surrendering can be awakening your life. So one has to do with a willingness to see things as they are, to face reality, as people say, face reality. Don't avoid reality. Don't avoid what's happening. That's deeply conditioned in us to avoid uncomfortable truths. looking away from the things we don't want to see, don't know what to make sense of it. So making a practice is not about accepting everything that's happening to you, and so it's all supposed to happen this way. I'm not talking about that. It's about happening. I'm going to have to surrender to face what's happening, to merely want to see the truth, to want to know what's really going on, to be intimate with the truth, that reality, to be face to face with what is. And in the other part of active surrender that I want to talk about, it's about becoming fluid and flexible and agile, able to move. Because you see, when you're in touch with what's really going on, if you're really allowing ourselves to be face to face with the reality, that one force energy, this gives us the opportunity to respond intelligently, be responsive and move with the life. So you cannot predict what's going to happen, right? Remember when I said nobody knows what your thought is going to be in the next 5 minutes? I'm going to say to you, you can accept the reality right now in the present moment. Right now, this is what I am having. This is my sadness, my fear, my whatever is coming up for you. Just breathe, let it be, right? That the song that John Lennon, oh no, was it George Harrison, Let It Be, the Beatles, right? So just let it be. Just let it be. And as if you don't tag onto it, it just passes by. And you notice you can give in your heart the gratitude for that experience, for this one that's coming up. And then you start like, wow, this is like, when kids, they use the bubbles, soap bubbles, and they blow bubbles. And you see bubbles all over the place. And it's like beautiful colors. We came here to experience emotions. There's a part of us that, in the old traditions, spiritual traditions, many of the religious traditions talk about that part, the soul, that never was born and never will die. That fire cannot cut it down, fire cannot burn it, the wind cannot blow it, the water cannot wet it. That's the part that we're referring to. That's the true self. That's the presence energy. And as you allow that to fill your life, you notice opportunities are everywhere. You start seeing ways to help other people. And we have seen when we're really in touch with reality and what's really going on, it's allowing us to face with reality that's really there. That gives us an opportunity to respond and move with life. And what we ultimately see is it's love. It's love. This energy is, we call it divine, God, intelligence. It's love. And as you allow peace and love, no matter what your emotions and no matter what your mind is doing, let it be. Go to that part, the deep part of yourself. You notice there's a loving thought. There's a loving thought. Oh my God, how can I, actualize this love? Call your family. Call your loved ones. Volunteer. As humanity is progressing on this evolving consciousness path, most of us have this need to make a difference. When you get away from, not get away, just, let the clouds of fear or anxiety, whatever, but deeper than that, go deeper a little bit. You want to make a difference in each other's life. And that is the highest way to be. And we've all seen that when we try to control things, we don't tend to be able to quickly respond to new events. We try to control this and try to control that, and you can't. Whereas in a moment like this, with the stories, the script is changing every day. One day you're going to be about your life. The next day you're supposed to stay at home. And suddenly all the cascades have changed. How am I going to work? How am I going to do? What am I going to get food? How am I going to not contaminate myself when I'm getting food? Go to the store. What do I have to wear? Do I have to wear gloves? Do I have to sanitize? It's changing so fast. So you want to be people who just be able to fluidly change. Remember? So for that, you have to be working with your life force energy. And so doesn't mean you have to be in meditation all the time, but notice when you're off skelter, off center, bring it back. The life force energy, the divine in all of us, the intelligence works with us, right? So we want to be people who can just be able to fluidly change. How can you do that? Use the base of peace and love. Right? Now, if you're not there, I'm not love, I'm not at peace, good, just start breathing. Give thanks. Use your beats. Do your gratitude. And I want to hear this next week when we are having more. So it takes a kind of surrender. Okay, I'm going to go with the flow. I'm going to go with the flow of life. It doesn't mean that I'm not actively making choices. Excuse me. Decisions and navigating. We're always navigating, but we're navigating ideally from this deep wisdom component that's arising because we are not knowing, because we have been willing to be comfortable in the unknown. We have access to wisdom. And this surrender is giving us agility, the ability to freely move and respond to what's occurring without rigidity. That's really what I'm trying to get at. The breaking of rigidity. Oh, I always do this. I always do that. No, let it go. Okay, I can always come back to that. But what is there? What is this moment calling me to? Each one of us, when we do this practice, a deepening awakening happens. So in this practice, there are really two things. It's turning towards uncomfortable truths, right? Really questioning and challenging our biases, questioning and challenging our unconscious assumptions. And I want to see and know what's true here so that I can move with freedom and agility and fluidity through life as an active, wise participant, creative responder to what's happening. And so you work with that. And then you observe where your rigidity comes up. Okay, oh no, I can't have this. No, look at it. Look at it. You observe and you start to feel whether I'm being rigid here. There I am, insisting things have to go this way. It's not going to work. So the more you resist, the more rigidity you have. It has to go in a certain way. You find that, wow. For those of you who have to go, we are about time. So some are told, you can't go out. I want to go out. What about this? What about that? You feel your rigidity. You need to practice surrender in an unconscious way, not in a passive way, not in an absolute way of life. And just breathing and says, well, I have this rigidity. What can I do about it? Now, when I face rigidity or overwhelm, suddenly, I'm doing something and I'm facing it. My mind tells me, my intelligence tells me, go and take a nap, Vijaya. I said, I don't need a nap. I just don't need to rest. I can just continue. But then the knocking in the heart becomes, go take a nap. And so when I meditate or take a nap and then I come back, my mind is clear and fresh. And I can address the task on hand with a new insight, with wisdom. Did you see? So be in communication with your insight, with what's going on inside, with your depth of your wisdom, your soul consciousness. So one more posture that practice that it's kind of builds up what we've been talking about. It's a little bit about the fact that you see one of the most probable, extraordinary insights for most of us. It's the one that turns our world upside down the most. It's this mysterious kind of almost the kind of mind-stopping revelation that reality in its very essence, that you in your very essence is whole, complete, lacking nothing. So most of us live in a sense that there's somewhere to get to in the future. There's somewhere with an idealized future. Our circumstances will be right there and our world will be right there. And we've healed ourselves enough. We've processed our trauma enough. We've done our work, whatever. Now we're at a place where we can really live. This moment is showing us, we're at a place where we can fully go. We sort of put off our enlightenment, awakening into the future. Oh, when I have money, or when I have time, and I'm retired. But we are forced to be called into this moment right now. We can't put off fully living in the future. It's always somewhere out there. And we do it because this moment doesn't seem adequate. But I'm telling you, look at the way we look around for all things that could be better. We look inside ourselves and there's hope, a lot of better, can be a lot better. And we are oriented for this future we're getting to. But the radical insight of spiritual awakening is that there's nowhere else to go. There is no better moment waiting. The moment is it. The moment, if I could turn fully towards it, give it all of myself, give it all my love, it's already full. It's already overflowing. The sacredness, the light that I've been seeking has never not been there. It's always been shot through every moment of life. I'm already that which I'm seeking. So, not to get put off with, like I told you about the waves at the top of the sea, but go into the depth of your ocean with just your breath. But just knowing it's there, you cannot undo that. We've all been here. Look at this. Sharon said, it's a challenge to think about uncomfortable moments and thoughts as invitations. But that is exactly right. Thanks for the reminder tonight. This crisis is bringing us together as crises always do. That's right. Crisis is an opening for transformation. It is making us find creative ways to connect and keep growing, like the Zoom session. Gratitude for these resources. Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you. So let's go into the future, right? Let go of any idea of a better future that's waiting for you then. Allow yourself to embrace this moment. Do the practices as you're listening to the audio recording. The only moment right now is here. And just for a brief practice, stop insisting there's something missing. Let go of the idea. Go into the depths of the ocean of life. There's infinite mercy, compassion, and understanding. With everything happening in the world, it is good. It is good. And this moment is coming up for you to look at it. So all you need to do, practice is let go of the future. Simple. Let go. There's no such future. You can still plan. Am I going shopping tomorrow? What I'm going to do? That's not what I mean. Let go and accept the moment as completely as it is right now. Every moment, whether you're going shopping, whether you're staying at home, whether you're doing your work, every moment, do be fully engaged in that moment. Not be thinking about the future. You can make plans, doesn't matter, but know that your being is not there in the future. So you cannot be completely present in a future that you're making up. And once you know that, once you really get that insight, you stop spinning wheels. You're like, wow, I'm not present. I don't have a relationship with the present moment. I have a relationship with my memories of the past, and I may have an imagined future that I'm making, but I don't have a relationship with the only moment that counts, present moment. And as you breathe and you go in, that's it, you're done. You can feel your buttocks on the chair, your feet on the ground, your hand on the heart, and just breathe and give thanks. I'm here. This moment is calling me. Embracing the moment as it is, allowing it to take root inside you, and then let it do its work and flow out in your life in whatever way it does. You'll be amazed. As those of us who are so used to doing the control, you could just like, oh, I just want to do this. I want to play music. I want to dance. I just want to take a few moments of just giving myself a hug. Those of you who want to have some more practices, please subscribe to my blog and, sending out so many good things that you can do for yourself during this period. And one of them is looking at the mirror and just giving yourself a hug, appreciating you. That's the last person that we appreciate in our lives. Appreciate you. So there's nothing to do, nowhere to go. We have an opportunity to turn to the life we're in right now. The moment we are living right now, give it everything. So be fully present for the people that you're with, for the situation in front of us. When I say fully present, I mean in the deepest way. Bring out all the capacities that all the practices we just did for the last hour and a half, almost hour, 20 minutes. And I guess really bring out to moment to bear in the moment. So this practice is giving out waiting and not postponing, touching the depth in us that all of us have access to, right? So give yourself fully, right? And that's when you're like, wow. So I want to take a few moments. I want to appreciate all of you for being here. Anyone has any questions? We can have a few moments for a Q&A. Rivka, you want me to unmute you? Yes. Dan, I'm going to unmute you. There you go.
Great. Yes. If anyone has any questions, I see one comment down here. Exactly, but crisis of this magnitude is making folks desire the need to connect, as we've pretty much been disconnected. Families are spending time together. Folks are desiring hugs, living. I appreciate you in this moment we've spent. I love this exercise you gave in the 15 minutes in the mirror.
Thank you.
If you guys have any questions too, we can throw them into the chat box.
And you've been wonderful, right? You've been wonderful. You've been writing out all the. Now, next week, we're going to do a deeper session We're going to have like uncovering and just listen to the audio, like nothing on your mind, listening to the classical music. And it's like, wow, you know, I never thought about this. That's okay. Don't have to think about it. Just because it's the truth, it will start awakening in you. And we want to see this like awakening. Sometimes you're going to fall off the bandwagon, get back on the bandwagon. And, you know, do this with yourselves. If you want to have, next week we're going to put you in groups, and we'll do the, getting one of my deep mentions. Oh, thank you, Melissa. Gratitude to Dan and Rivka. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you to all of you, all of us here on a journey. And it's a magical moment because you don't know when you touch that force. It's like, remember, the deepest sense of all human beings is love. When you have love, you don't have to go anywhere. Have that beautiful feeling, love. And we're going to do more into the understanding of where that love is and what pulls us off. And the more that, you know, all of us are in that space, I can tell you, you can change the entire world. You can change the entire world with your depth and with that presence, right? Now, I want to look at this. Sandy says, I'm so appreciative this time. I received much more than I imagined, much joy. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you. And all of you, you know, when we realize it's a blessing to be alive, yeah, all kinds of things are going to happen. But that strength is a dharma that protects you. And as you start doing your best for people now, be safe, practice social distancing, right? I'm not going to, you know, make it small. Social distancing, do not go out if you don't need to, except for emergencies. Plenty of hand washing, you know, and practice this, like you can give love out even to, I think it was Aaron who said that his mother is in hospital and in a nursing home. You know, you can give her thanks. And you can maybe call her, write to her, mail that letter to her, put some funny things in her, only she can remember. And the nursing staff, you know, will read that to her. So just keep your wisdom will tell you what to do. And sometimes when you call someone, they will say, well, I was just thinking about you. That's when the synchronicities happen. And you're going to be facing more and more of that. So I want to hear back from you. And please write to Dan any comments you have about this session. And, you know, I want to see all of you next session. And bring forth your ideas and your revelations, because we're going to go much deeper. Now I'm going to give you some homework to do. The only one homework, okay? Only one. Keep practicing, keep listening to all this, but ask yourself in the morning when you wake up and after your meditation or after your practice, put your hand on your heart and just breathe and say, who can I gift myself today? Just one question to your higher consciousness. Who can I gift myself today? Rivka, can you write it down? Who can I gift myself today? The gift is yourself. You don't have to know the answer, so you have to let go of the control. What this question does is, in all the thousands and thousands of patients, clients, you know, I've practiced this with, and we're doing it, amazing things start happening. Amazing things. Who can I gift myself? Who can I gift myself today? Today, every day. And don't take like, oh, I must do this or must do that. No, hang on, just wait until the wisdom comes up in you, because you're going to learn how to talk to your wisdom, right? And so what happens is miracles start happening. Suddenly you see, you will hear, you will have synchronicities happening. This is a magic question. This is a depth of consciousness question. To have a relationship with that consciousness, if some of you don't have it, it will bring you higher and higher. Who can I give myself today? And sometimes at night when I'm like going to sleep, who did I give myself? And suddenly I was aware, oh, with somebody, I was in the grocery store and someone I was present. So gifting yourself with a smile, with an acknowledgement, with love, calling someone that you haven't thought about, right? Or writing a note or an email. That's all like, you know, coming from within. So don't stop yourself. Who can I give myself today, right? So
Dr. V, hi,
yeah.
it's Dan. I just wanted to read you a question somebody sent me. I think they meant to send it to the group. First of all, I want to thank you so much for everything for today. I know I got so much out of it. I hope everybody else did. And you have a gift, and thank you so much. I appreciate you. and I have gratitude for you. And I really think you're so special, and thank you for helping us all and helping our community.
Oh, you're so
So if
welcome.
anybody has any, and please send me your feedback, positive or negative, whatever. We want to make this as best we could for next week. And we hope everybody comes back next week, same bat time, same bat channel, as they used to say. But you could also email me to dan@flowbell.org, dan@flobel.org. I think most people have that one. And I'll make sure the notes get to Dr. V and or to Rivka. The other thing is, as Dr. V said, you know, I find it helpful to call people, to call loved ones, to call elderly people who might be home alone, and just, you know, say hello. And it makes you feel good that you did something good. It also reassures you that, you know, this will end eventually, and it will hopefully lead to a better world, because people are, my brother Billy said this morning in a phone call, he said, you know, I think God is giving us all a time out, or Mother Nature, or whatever you want to think about it, but we're all getting a time out because we've been bad. So now we have a chance to rectify that and live better, more fuller lives, less selfish lives, what have you. And then the other thing, apropos of what Dr. V said about our homework or exercise, who can we gift ourselves today? One of our advisors is a Chabad rabbi, Chaim Drizin, and he's always taught me a lot. But one of the things he taught me was that the reward for doing a mitzvah, which is a good deed for those who don't know, isn't the opportunity to do another mitzvah. So the person who does the mitzvah, who does the good deed, usually gets more out of it, or as much out of it as the person to whom the good deed is done. So I feel in these times, especially, if you feel hopeless, if you feel like you lost control, then, you know, do something you can do. Be nice to somebody, even remotely, and let them know you're thinking about them. And that will have a ripple effect, hopefully, in the world going forward. And that's really the purpose of this. This purpose is to, as again, strengthen our capacity individually and collectively, and then to have a ripple effect in the world. And that's something that Dr. V has taught me over the years. And, you know, it's very empowering. So I wanted to thank Dr. V. I want to thank Rivka. I want to thank everybody here. And, Dr. V, somebody also asked if you could post your blog again in the chat box, your website in the blog. And also, if anybody has any questions, please, you know, send them to me, and I'll collect them and forward them to Dr. V, and also to anybody else you want me to forward them to. So
And for
you.
those of you who are really like, you know, you want to look for another way, this is an opening for you. I strongly encourage you to seek out, you know, mentors and, you know, that can help you. And so I'll tell you more about that next time. But I want to see you this time just opening yourself up, right? Don't be afraid. And all of us will be here to support you. So having a consciousness and a relationship to that presence within you is so exciting. I always loved it, right? So thank you. Thank you, everyone. Blessings, Dan.
Thank you.
Blessings.